Hello folks, good to see you back. In this episode we're going to settle back just a little bit. We're going to take a breath and we're going to dust off a song that I wrote a couple years ago. Folks, it's a whole new crazy out there, and it actually started getting me down, really down. So grab a cup of coffee and I'll tell you how I ended up smiling again. So here I am, minding my own business like I always do. But the news is still cranked up about this here killer pandemic. After over a year of lockdowns and forced isolation. It's April 2021 as we film this, and much of the US has opened up again and getting back to some semblance of normalcy. But up here above the medicine line, man, they still shutting things down, battening down the hatches and throwing away the keys. Like I said, it's a whole new crazy out here. I didn't really think that it had been wearing down on me at all, but until days ago I realized I was fraught with a sense of hopelessness and despair like I'd never felt before. I always see the goofy side of life, but those shades were drawn tight. So it got to where I didn't want to talk to anybody. My temper flared at nothing at all, and I knew I was in a bad place. I knew I needed to do an intervention on myself, and I know of only one place to turn to when it's way above my head, and that's the owner's manual. So yesterday I took me a solo trip out to one of our favorite camping spots just to have a little sit down with God. I wanted to hear what He had to say to me about the state I was in. And sitting there in the sun, I asked Him my favorite question. Jesus, what do you want me to know about this? Now, lots happened, but what really hit me between the eyes is how He answered. And that's what I want to tell you because, man, it was so cool, yet it was so natural, and in a language that I understand. You know what He said to me? He said, I think Psalm 23 would encourage you right now. Now, we're all familiar with that psalm, but I had a copy of the Message with me, and that's a version of the Bible translated and paraphrased into everyday language, words that us blue-collar folks can swallow and digest. So I wrote down what transpired, and I'd like to read it to you. I'll quote a verse or a phrase, and then I'll tell you how it hit me. God, my shepherd, I don't need a thing. You know, He reminded me that He will provide absolutely everything that I need, even though my income is drastically cut. And He does. Man, work is coming in from places I never even knew existed. And by the end of the month, the bills are paid. Many times we have no idea how, but the numbers don't lie. You've bedded me down in lush meadows. You find me quiet pools to drink from. And the neat thing was, as I read that, I noticed a herd of wild horses grazing towards me. I hadn't seen them until that very moment. Now, the place where I was sitting was a lush watershed valley full of wild game, wild horses, and waterfowl. And off to my left, a flock of geese and ducks were jostling for ownership of a large beaver pond. True to your word, you let me catch my breath and send me in the right direction. Now that, folks, was a pivotal thought. I desperately needed a timeout from people and the constant barrage of propaganda. It was closing in on me so much that it blurred my vision and kind of closed me off from hearing God's direction. It actually had turned me into a fearful person. That ain't me. So He brought me right out to this quiet place, and He turned my heart back towards Him and His truth. A new direction indeed. And even when the way runs through Death Valley, I'm not afraid when you walk at my side. See, I'm constantly concerned about my lack of income. What if I lose my business because of all of this? My land, my possessions. Where will I go? What'll I eat? And He reminded me that He promised to walk by my side the whole way. How then can I be afraid? Your trusty shepherd's crook makes me feel secure. The crook, or the staff, both guides and rescues, and he will guide me to do what I need to do, where to adapt, new strategies and new sources of income, and he will also rescue me when I fall or start down the wrong trail. You serve me a 6-course dinner right in front of my enemies. I love this one. This actually gave me a start, because it suddenly dawned on me that my enemy wants me to starve to death. No work, no eat, right? Ha! But God has a different plan and will accomplish it in plain sight, rubbing the enemy's nose right in the nasty plan that he had intended for me. I love it. You revive my drooping head. Well, he definitely did that yesterday. My cup brims with blessing. Right now it seems to be a very empty cup, but you know, it's actually a very full one. Every good thing, every blessing, every need that is supplied. In fact, it is so flippin' full that it's spilling out all over the place. And may that excess be dumped on every person who crosses trails with me. Hey, that's you. May I breathe life into them instead of sucking it out. Your beauty and love chase after me every day of my life. That's true. This spot where I was visiting with him is stunningly beautiful and quiet. Everything I see is created directly from his hand, and images of this place are constantly in my mind. The last verse. I'm back home in the house of God for the rest of my life. Folks, if there ever is to be a great reset, it's this. He brought me back into a mindset of viewing this whole pile of crap from his perspective. There ain't a thing I can do to change it, or even affect any of this craziness going on all around me. I haven't been tasked with changing people's minds, so why try? Furthermore, I'm not held responsible for anyone else's actions, only mine. Bottom line, God has my back on His word, and therefore, He'll provide everything I need to survive this. Now, my needs are different from yours, but He'll provide yours too. It always amazes me when He speaks directly to me, and now that this is settled firmly way deep inside, I can deal with the foolishness that goes on all around without completely going off my rocker. Well, any more than I already am. And you know, it's perfect because now I'm wearing my Corona shirt. You know, with over a year's worth of a huge lack of personal contact, I constantly hear that loneliness is people's biggest issue. A few years back, a little chord progression was just kind of running around through my head, and when I sat down to write some lyrics, the words of the first line just jumped right out of the end of the pen. No one is meant to be alone. The rest of the song also just kind of seemed to write itself, and it's a whole lot more apropos today than when it first come out.
Meant to be alone. A cold wind that chills you to the bone. A friend will stay beside you even when the road gets rough. There to steer and guide you when you can't see clear enough. Two chords easily come undone. Alone you're unprotected. With a friend you can face the worst. When the waves come unexpected, we'll land feet first. You will never be alone. I'm closer than you've ever known. I will never leave you, so rest here in my arms. There's nothing you will lack. I'll keep you safe from every harm. When you just can't make it, when all hope is gone, I'll pick you up and carry you till we see the lights of home. Safe from every harm. No one is meant to be alone. Meant to be alone. You're not
Well, friend, here's hoping that you're surviving a whole lot better than I was, not all down and lonely. And if you are, I trust that what I learned yesterday might be of some benefit to you. Man, that would be great. It sure made a huge difference to me. And you know what? I laughed again today. Boy, did that feel good. My parting shot for now, don't take life too seriously. Enjoy life. Today, just like this old gal. Whew, ain't she a babe? Wring every drop out of it that you can. And we'll see you here next time on Cabin Fever.